Good morning everybody, this is your Wednesday's English lesson and we're going to carry on with our diary entry today. So first of all, if you're still a little bit unfamiliar with the story, if you want to re-jog your memory again, go to the link in Dojo which will send you to the YouTube link that will be able to read the story again for you. And I don't think it'll help or hurt to listen to the story again. I think it will give us a bigger idea and some more thoughts that we can incorporate into our diary writing. Okay, so today we are going to be writing the second paragraph of our 3 diary entries. So yesterday we wrote about the beginning of the story with him just coming out of hospital and his thoughts and his feelings about not being able to go up the ladder and having the fear of heights. And today we're going to go through the story a little bit more and follow Humpty's process after the weeks after his fall. Okay, so this means the middle of the story is going to include telling the audience about Humpty's yearning to get back onto the wall and his annoyance at himself for not being able to go up, and maybe how he feels when he sees the wall, if he gets anxiety or if he some just show not tells, if he gets a bit sweaty because he's nervous. And then we'll also be writing about the solution that he found, which was to design like a paper aeroplane kind of bird, and with that he hopes that he'll be able to reconnect with the birds again up in the air because he'll be able to fly it quite high, and then he might feel like he can join in again a little bit more. He won't feel too left out. So that's where we're at today. So just a little re-jog of our features of a diary entry and our success criteria. We're still including the date and time when it was written, so it's completely up to you when and where it was written. We're still writing in first person. This one's the major one. We're writing it from Humpty's point of view, so this is really important. We're using past tense, so if he's talking about something that has happened, for instance, that he watched the paper aeroplane go up on the wall and that gave him the idea, then we're going to talk about it in past tense. But if it's something that's happening now as he is writing it, like some feelings or some show not tells, then it's going to be in present tense. Okay, so we need to make sure that we're crossing those tenses really fluidly and not making little mistakes. That means reading back our sentences to ensure that it sounds perfect. We're going to tell the events in chronological order, so we're first going to start with how anxious he's feeling still, and that he's really wanting to get back on the wall, but he feels like he can't because he's holding himself back. And then we're going to talk about him designing and making the paper aeroplane birds, which will help him reconnect with the real birds on the wall. So remember, that's in chronological order, so it's in the order that it happens in the story. The main ones that we used on Monday that we did in our planning was to look at how he would be feeling and to empathise with Humpty. So what emotions would he be feeling? You can refer back to the feel wheel to help you. And what thoughts would be going through his head. Okay, so you already wrote that for the middle of the story on Monday. So that planning is really going to help you today. All you have to do really is look through that and bind them together in a nice paragraph. We're going to use, this is going to be our second paragraph, and we're going to use the informal style still, because remember, he's talking to himself. He's just like writing his own thoughts down, so he doesn't have to pretend, he doesn't have to be posh, he doesn't have to be anything that he's not. He can write exactly how he wants, and it's him expressing his own thoughts on a page with some writing. And then, exactly as it was yesterday, I'd like some conjunctions to blend our sentences together and some adverbials of time, manner and place. This is going to tell me where things are happening, so we could say in the morning, in the afternoon, after lunch, where it was happening. If he was making the bird planes, oh, I made them everywhere. I sat in my bed trying to make them. I made them at the kitchen table. Yeah, and then how he did it. So he was, it was frustratingly something, or I carefully folded, or I frantically ran to do something. Yeah, so we're using how he did something without warning, as quick as a flash. So here is my example for you. Again, you can pause the screen and read it on your own, or you can listen to me read it. This is my example of the second entry of Humpty Dumpty's diary, and it happens 2 weeks or so after the first one. So I'm imagining that he spent those 2 weeks being quite down and quite sad, but also perfecting his recipe for the folding of the paper plane birds when he had that idea. Okay, so Wednesday the 15th of May, 10 p.m. Dear Diary, after countless hours practicing and many painful paper cuts, I think I've finally cracked it. It's taken me a couple of weeks to come to the realization that I will probably never be able to go up onto the wall again. It hurts my heart to admit that my shaky legs and trembling hands just won't allow me anywhere close to that ladder. On my way to the store, I walk past and see the birds soaring. Their singing fills me with joy and grief in equal measure. I am so desperate to fly high with my friends again, to feel the wind on my skin and breathe in the fresh air that fills my lungs. However, tonight, I think I've perfected my formula. The idea that I had just a couple of days ago. I really hope this will make me feel better. Making this paper bird has made me feel so infuriated and alone for the last week or so, but I had to figure it out all on my own. Every fold I seemed to get wrong, but I think I've finally done it. I'm filled to burst with pride. I've created a bird that will fly just as high as my team. It will ascend with the wind and look down on me from below. I hope the real birds recognize me from all the way up there. I hope they know I'm still watching them with glee. I hope they know I miss them. Tomorrow is the day I take it outside. I won't be able to sleep with excitement. Talk soon, Humpty. Okay, so that is my example of what I think would be going through his head as he's practicing to make his birds. Notice how I've done the time a little bit later, like he's been up all evening trying to perfect it and he's finally done it. And now, because he's finally done it, that's why he's given him the process of to write in his diary. That's what's pushed him to write straight away. So I think writing the time and picking the time carefully and thinking about when this would happen in Humpty's life is a really nice choice, and you have to kind of think about at what time would be suitable for him to write. I don't think he'd be writing if he's doing it halfway through and he's really frustrated and he's still not done it. I think it's one of those ones where he's writing it with pride because he's finally cracked it. So just notice those little things. As you can see as well, I'm going to go through a little bit like we did yesterday. We've got the time and the date for the success criteria. We've got the first person pronoun, so it's always I. We've got some adverbials, so after countless hours is telling me when. We've got where it was, is talking about would the birds recognise me from up there. And we're talking about today, tonight is an adverbial of time. How it's making him feel, so his feelings and his thoughts. He's feeling alone, he's feeling with pride, he had to figure it out on his own, joy and grief. Yeah, we've got loads of thoughts, desperate, loads of feelings, some show not tells, that his shaky legs and trembling hands here. I've got that it hurts his heart, so really, really personal thinking. And we've got some adverbs of manner in there as well, so telling me how. We have the tenses, so I've talked a little bit about it was practicing and painful paper cuts, so it was happening in the past and then now, so infuriated and alone, it has made me feel is past tense, and then we're talking about but I have finally done it is now present tense. Okay, I am filled to burst with pride. I have created, so I did create, I have created, so that's something that's happening right now, and something that he's excited about. It will ascend, so that's what's going to happen, so I just have to be really careful with my tense. Okay, so you can freeze it, you can use this to help you as well. I did all of these things, my adverbials and conjunctions, so to blend my sentences together. I used and, I used so, I used because, I used although, yeah. Using formal styles, so I'm talking to myself and not anybody else, and that's why I'm quite personal with my emotions and feelings. I tell it in chronological, I'm careful with my tenses, and I tell it in first person. It's a perfect paragraph. Okay, so I've used this to help me again. I want you to have a go using the planning on vocabulary you wrote on Monday as well. So turn to that page first, have a little recheck and reminder of what you wrote about how he would be feeling and what his thoughts and shown up tells would be. Have a little read through of where you got up to yesterday. And obviously this is taking place, this diary entry, a couple of weeks later, so just be mindful of the date that you are putting on to your diary entry. So it's not going to be months later, it's just a few weeks later, and how his feelings have progressed from the last entry. Okay, as always, upload it to Dojo and we'll have a little look. Good job.